record. Hopefully.
Yay!
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm your host, Katie Levine, and this is Beyond My Lens. Come with me while I reconnect with the incredible people I've photographed to share the stories behind the images you see. Because every powerful portrait starts with a powerful story. Beyond My Lens is brought to you by Narrative, the best culling and editing workflow for photographers, and my favorite way to edit. Okay, so today we have my good friend, Titus Makin on, and we became friends during the pandemic, or we first started working together, I think, because just like we were in the pandemic, right? Like scrolling, and somehow I got on your page and just became so inspired by you. I don't even know if I really realized you were an actor at the time, but I just loved your voice.
Oh, thank you. Well, honestly, what's up, y'all, by the way?
Yeah, sorry. I just want to jump right into it.
We got right into it. But that is crazy because I'd be forgetting that, like, by the way, y'all, warning, I'm ratchet and I'm country. So I'll be forgetting it's probably going to be what you're going to hear stuff a lot. Anyway, but I forget that it was during the pandemic for one. And then also that it was not through acting. Because so much of my stuff is like, oh, I saw you on, or like, oh, or publicists connect us because of act or something. But like to be recognized for some music is a vibe. That means a lot.
Pure.
That means a lot.
But yeah, so I don't know if you want to give a brief intro and then we can get back into that.
What's up? It's Titus ERLY Makin. And I'm big on adding that early in.
Yeah, because that's the new.
Yes, because here's the thing. So I guess this goes into who I am as I'm talking a lot, yapping. But I learned maybe like a year ago that I should not be ashamed to like
own it.
And like really just like do a lot of self-promotion, because when you think about it, I was like, oh, they'll find it when they find it. They'll find out that I do music under ERLY. And I was like, no, I'm gonna start. Like I literally put it on acting stuff now too.
That's awesome.
So like on credits, if I'm like guest starring on something or on a TV show, it literally will say Titus ERLY Makin, because I'm like, and ERLY is my music name. And I'm just like, yeah, let's start that self-promotion. But anyway, born Honolulu, Hawaii, traveled the world, military family, dad's a preacher. I got into the entertainment industry. My sister's also an actress. And then we landed in Los Angeles and the snowballed.
Okay, so we became friends of the pandemic because I saw your Instagram, really inspired by you, and I was like, I have to photograph him. And that's usually what happens with me is I'll like find somebody and I get super like respect them. And then I'm like, I need to photograph them because I need to work with them and just try to capture at least somewhat of who you are. And now we've worked together 4 times, 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know what's weird about working with you or with Katie? Is because why I do that, because I forget that some people are just listening, and I'm like, they're like, who is he working with? Anyway, but the cool thing about working with Katie is it feels like therapy, like a little therapy.
No
session,
way,
in a good way.
That's
not
awesome.
like in a way where you're like, I should asking me so many questions, but in a way where it's like, it doesn't feel, because to be very blunt, I don't enjoy photo shoots.
You're so good at them.
I never have. And that's kind of you to say, because all the people that you worked with, like, I'm sure you've seen people kill it and people not kill it. So thank you. But for me, I don't enjoy posing or like trying to capture a moment that I'm like creating.
Yeah.
But the great thing about with you is that because it feels like therapy and because we're genuinely just talking and catching up and she's like snapping away, you typically capture like those natural moments that make me excited to take pictures.
Oh, I love that.
You know what? Because every time we're shooting together, I'm like, I don't want to look like him. I don't want to try to be modelly. Like, I don't want to.
Well, because I always say that to you. I think I've stopped saying it to you now, like at our 4th shoot. But like, I just say it to you the first 3 times because I'm like, everybody knows you're good looking. Like, how do we get more from that? Or how do we incorporate your acting into the modeling? Or how do we incorporate that and create something more cinematic? And then the more cinematic shots, like the stuff that you just posted with like that third with your hands over your head and everything like that. It's one of my favorite photos ever. And I just think because it's so cinematic and we create together. I noticed that from the first time we did a shoot together. So you basically came in, I was doing a shoot with this model, Courtney, already. Then you two started vibing. Then I did a photograph of you two together. She ends up in your music video, like crazy connections.
You know what's crazy is I do forget that order of operation. I remember it was all that same day, but for some reason in my mind, I thought it was through Courtney that we came together, but it wasn't. It genuinely wasn't. I only know Courtney because of you.
Yeah.
And then we did the music video. That's crazy.
No, I saw a video of you singing Grandma's Hands and I lost my mind. And Yeah, super cool.
Dang.
Yeah.
What year? When was COVID?
2020, 5 years ago. Now you're my boy.
Come on.
But yeah, so that's the thing about it. So yeah, so then we ended up so then she was in this music video for you. I shot the cover that was like the single art for it that day as well.
Yep.
And then we connected them. Now we're both like landed ourselves in Arizona. You part-time, me full-time.
Mm-hmm.
Worked together again when you just started early.
Mm-hmm.
And then now again for your recent album art.
Mm-hmm. Upcoming EP.
So go into background, right? So I know we talked a little bit about it, but I know you also went to school for acting. You started when you were like 17, right?
Yep, exactly. So I went to school called the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts. It was one of those schools that you got to audition to get into. So what really happened is I was, if I can elaborate.
Of course.
Okay. I'm elaborate away. Right. We were talking about this before we started filming. How
I'm a talker.
And I was like, you're going to have to stop me. There's people that you have to like pull teeth with, and there's people that you have to stop. I'm one of those you have to stop. I'm like Kelly Clarkson. Like we just talk. Anyway, but so it was what really happened is after my senior year of high school, during my senior year of high school, I saw a movie called Step Up, which I guess shows my age
like
a little bit.
Channing Tatum's?
Channing Tatum's Step Up. So like these are, at the time, all the dance movies were super popular. You Got Served, Step Up, Rise, like this like crumping movie. Dance movies were everywhere. So I watched Step Up, and in Step Up, they were at this performing arts school where they had dancing, singing, acting. Great. And I was like, whoa, I didn't know that type of school. Oh, and Save the Last Dance. That was a big factor.
I was just about to
Yeah. So those two movies, by chance, I was seeing them all at the same time in the same era of dance movies. And those two movies in particular were schools that they went to, aka Juilliard was Save the Last Dance, and then whatever school that was in Step Up. And I was like, whoa, these schools exist? I had no idea. Zero idea. I'm just some regular little country bumpkin boy that was just like enamored by like people dancing. And at that time, I was only dancing and doing music. Like, so I was the kid doing talent shows. Like I was singing and dancing at talent shows, and I was like winning little high school talent show. And I was like singing national anthem at pep rallies. Like I was already performing, but I didn't realize that's what I was doing. They were just like, Titus, you can sing, do this. And I was like, all right. Anyway, so I saw that school on Step Up, and I was like, whoa, that exists. So I Googled it, and I literally typed in Step Up Performing Arts School, like the performing arts school from Step Up movie. And a bunch of schools came up to audition for, mine being one of them, obviously Juilliard and a few others. And that was exactly how I like teetered into acting. It's because it was mandatory in order for me to go to school. Because I was really just trying to go for singing and dancing. Because I was like, where can I just go sing and dance? Like, can I get a degree? Like, that'd be dope. And then that school came up, but it was like, you need to audition with 2 monologues and you need to do all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I literally watched like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Promise you, this is exactly how I learned it. I was watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Will Smith does. Like, he kind of does cool stuff. That's literally how I learned. And I was like, all right. And I ended up working.
Also, that's just like a big testimony to like, if you don't know something, like just figure it out.
Fake it till you make it.
100%.
100%.
Because actually, I was just talking to someone else about this, but like how if you just have this fear and you just don't do it, like what if you just were like, hey, I don't act, and you didn't decide to go to that school? And again, if you didn't act, like, I mean, because you've been in Glee, Pretty Little Liars, The Rookie was one of your biggest shows, right? And like, it just, those opportunities then now lead into more opportunities for singing. So what if you hadn't done that? And what if you hadn't taken that lead?
And I almost didn't. And it's shout out to a good moms out there, aka Katie's now a good mom. The morning of that audition, because, so fun fact, military family, I was all over the place, but by this time, I graduated high school in Sierra Vista, Arizona. So I was back in Arizona at this point. I was in Arizona, and the audition was in Phoenix, but we were in Sierra Vista, which is 3 hours south of Phoenix. So the morning we were supposed to drive to the audition, because they did like a worldwide scout for like only 300 something students get in each year. And then the second year, only 180 get in. So you can even get cut after the first year of being there. Anyway, so there's this big audition, blah, 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 blah. The morning of, my mom comes wake me up, and I'm like cold feet. I'm like, no. I was like, no, I'm good. I was like, maybe I'll just go back to school in Georgia. I was just going to go back to community college there and then transfer to like Clark or something. And then she was just like, all right. And then she left the room. My dad came back. He's like, boy, you better wake up. We got to go. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm going to go. I was like, I don't feel like going anymore. I don't feel it. Because mind you, I found this on my own. They weren't trying to push me into anything. Like they were just, I guess, creating the space of support. They were like, cool, I'll drive you. Then my mom came back. She was like, you know what? She was like, you want to sleep your dreams away? She was like, "Is that what you gonna do? You gonna sleep your dreams away? You're just gonna be another bum?" It's gonna
Sleep your dreams away, though. I mean, that's
100%.
a great quote. Though. Like, don't sleep your dreams away.
Don't sleep your. I was physically.
You were literally sleeping.
Yes, and she was just like, "You gonna be mad." She was like, "One day you're gonna be mad." And she was like, "You're gonna go to this." She was like, "Get up. You're not gonna be lazy." And I was like, "Oh," she literally pulled me out of bed, made me go. I was so mad that whole drive, and it ended up working. So shout out to moms.
I love that. No, I mean, so then now pushing forward. Okay, so how did you end up on these other shows, right? Like, so was it Glee was first?
Yeah. Glee was the my first speaking role because I technically did lean into the dance side when I first got out to LA. I went back into the dance side and I had a dance agent, and this is after I graduated from the performing arts school. As I was trying to get acting stuff going, I was still leaning into the music and dance. And I got a dance agent, and I started doing background work. Like as a dancer on Victorious on Nickelodeon.
Oh, cool.
And that was like technically the first thing, but the first speaking thing, yes, was Glee.
I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah, that was cool. It was fun.
I mean, that's like a show that's like a household name.
I know. Like when I think back on it, I'm like, what the actual heck?
Well, and it was so funny too, because again, when we met, so I was like, Pretty Little Liars used to be like my like guilty little pleasure. Like I don't know
pretty little pleasure.
Yeah, it's literally like I don't know. I mean, I've probably seen that show a gazillion times, and then I was like, "Whoa, dude, you played the photographer.
Oh yeah,
you were so great. Like you were the photographer, dude. That was also a cop and whatever. And you were so great in it, and like always a character that I mean, again, not knowing you at the time when I was watching it, I was like, what? Like this guy did such a great job. So yeah, like I just think those are two really cool things. But like, so you're somebody that's lived your dream, right? Would you say?
Yeah,
or living your dream. And there's so many people that are out there are like too afraid to. So what would you say to people out there that are kind of like, hey, I want to be an actor, I want to be a singer, or maybe don't have the supportive parents or, you know?
Ooh, that's loaded.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me take that in pieces because all of those were good points. Okay, to the person that wants to do it, but is just afraid within themselves, but would have the support, just afraid, I would say, don't sleep your dreams away because you're really the only one standing in the way of your own greatness. So it's like, if you can build up the courage, it's really going to be a personal thing. Because what I was going to say is if you can build up the courage to even just get comfortable. Nowadays, you have social media. I didn't have this back then, but I had it in maybe MySpace way, but it was different. But if you can build up the courage to just like post something, like start putting yourself out there in some type of way to like get yourself comfortable with what you think people are going to say about you, with opinions, which don't even matter. But if that's what you're afraid of is how people are going to perceive you, then nowadays I would say just post yourself singing on TikTok real quick. Like get used to the hate, honestly, get used to the love, whatever that is. Or if you're trying to act, post yourself doing a monologue. There's tons of actor friends of mine that post their audition. Like they'll literally post their self-tapes just as like practice on receiving either feedback or shade or whatever that is, getting used to critics. That's what I would say on the personal side, as far as like your own personal hurdles. Now, if you don't have the support around you, then that's a loaded thing because I don't want to act like I know how to advise that.
Because you had support.
Because I had support, so I don't want to step out and be
same
like,
too. Like,
just do it anyway. It's like, well, that's probably easier said than done, right? But I would imagine that I would love for you to find a community where it's accepted. Maybe try, and if you're in school, join a theater program, right? Because you'll be around other like-minded people. Or maybe if at home it's not so supported, maybe at least at school you feel like there's a community there. If you're outside of high school, then I would say sign up for an acting class. And if you don't have the money for that, it's doable. Working anywhere, you can start putting a little bit of money aside each paycheck, and you'll be able to afford acting classes. And you'll just start being around people that do support it. And you'll see what it's like to have that support group, I would imagine.
I love it.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit, because I just did your cover for your new project with ERLY. Space Isn't a Bad Place to Die.
Space isn't such a bad place to die.
Isn't such a bad place to die.
Dramatically.
My bad. But let's talk about that. And like, if you're comfortable with expressing kind of what's been the motivation for that, where are you trying to go with that? Like, is that your new, like, we're still doing acting, right?
Yes. Yeah. Technically speaking, yeah. Yeah, so with the EP, Space Isn't Such a Bad Place to Die, sounds morbid. It's I guess kind of morbid, but it's to be the reason I gave it that title is because I was genuinely looking up into the sky one night. Like I remember some drama stuff was happening in my life when I was like watching the news and my mom has Alzheimer's and there was like a freak out that happened. Like everything was kind of chaotic all at the same time. And I remember, and I was like, man, I was like sitting on this, they have a swing on their back patio. And I was sitting on the swing looking up and I was like, but like, why do we always just take everything that we're told, whether it be from media, other people? I'm like, if it ain't from the Bible, for me personally, why am I processing this? And I'm like, I just felt like over the years, like I just had fears that weren't mine. And I was like, and literally, I kid you not, I was like, but it's like, is space even really that bad? So really, when I strip away all like the societal norms of acceptable ways to pass away, I was like, if I were in space, yeah, I would probably freeze to death or self-implode or something from pressure. I don't know. But it's like in that one moment though, of awareness, you're like, whoa. And it's like, would that be so bad? Like it's that, or maybe a bus. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, it's interesting too, because I feel like a lot of people of faith too, they'll be like, okay, you need to speak life, speak life, speak life. But I also think there's a place of being like, okay, not being afraid to, go to heaven as well. So there's that duality too of that whole concept that you're talking about as well.
Yep. And the reason that, and so that was me explaining away the darkness of the morbid titling, if you will. But the even deeper, I guess what made me want to keep that title and keep, I guess, the tone of what all the songs are about is releasing all of that. Like, I'm just going to make this up, but I'm going to call it societal structure of like, okay, this is how I'm to feel about politics. This is how I'm to feel about my relationship,
your mom, and
my mom, like all of the things that it's like, okay, what does Titus feel? Okay. And how does it align with my beliefs? And I was like, that's what I'm going to go by. So essentially the whole EP is, I guess, commentary or pushback to societal structures that I feel like we should break, that I only have because I was taught to have them.
So, okay. And then the new name ERLY, right? Because at some point you were Butterfly Ali. And then, so what made you want to transition out of that to ERLY?
I felt a little boxed. Boxed. Like Butterfly Lee is a vibe. Cool. It's quirky. It's fun. I love a good quirky moment. But I was like,
well, super R&B, soul, like so cool.
Yeah.
But also ERLY's such a different genre in my opinion.
And that's the thing. Like I feel like Butterfly Lee overall, okay, two things. It's just quirky and weird enough to where I feel like it could latch. There's certain artist names that when you hear them, I'm quite positive that before they were famous, people were like, what?
Yeah.
Like Doja Cat.
Yeah.
It works now, but before then, you'd be like, I'm sorry, who? You want to be called Doja Cat, like a kitty? You know what I mean? Like what? So it's like, I knew it was one of those names that it's like, upon being successful, people would be like, oh yeah, Butterfly Lee. But before, people were like, I'm sorry, what? So I used that name as a catalyst to allow me to be expressive.
Yeah.
Sonically, aesthetically, because I felt trapped because I was just releasing music before that as just Titus. And then I was Titus Makin, and then I think I went back to Titus and like dropped a lot. I was doing all that, but then I was like, I kind of felt like I couldn't separate the acting and the music, where I was like, they would be like, oh, you're that guy from, but then why is he like super like funky?
So why did you want to though? Because I mean, or is that the same idea of Childish Gambino versus
Donald Glover?
Yeah,
Glover though.
Yeah, Donald Glover versus Childish Gambino. So was it kind of that idea that you wanted to have separation? Because then there's Justin Timberlake, who's Justin Timberlake. He acts, and then he's, what I'm saying. So there's that.
But he can't. So there's a slight difference, in my opinion. Different things work for different folks, and I'm not saying it wouldn't work. But I feel like if you come in music first, one, it's a little harder to be taken serious as an actor. But two, you can keep that entity, kind of like Queen Latifah. Like she can be in a movie and be called Queen Latifah. But if you come in as an actor first, I feel like it's kind of hard for people to shed that aesthetic of any other roles you've played. So let's say Johnny Depp does music. People don't know that a lot of times, but he's been doing music for a really long time. Yeah. Same with like what's Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Like she's had a rock band for so long, and it's like they just view it as Jada Pinkett Smith playing an instrument, Johnny Depp in a band. Like, so sometimes when you have the name switch, it kind of allows people to separate the entities, which are yourself. Like, it's not like a multiple personality disorder. It's like, no, I'm aware I'm the same person. But for your brain, not you, but the average listener, it's like sometimes you need that. And I've witnessed that now from being even just on The Rookie. People either so
I watched some older music videos when I was getting prepared for this, and me and my husband were like, "Whoa!" Everyone on Butterfly Ali was commenting about your role in The Rookie.
Right.
Like they were so like obsessive with the character that you played that they could not. Separate. That's all they were like, "I miss you on The Rookie," when it has nothing to do with your music.
No. So okay, this is good. I've actually never talked about this stuff before. So that is a topic that I do get asked. Like if I'm on TikTok Live or something, they'd be like, "Do you get sick of people calling you Jackson West?" Or like something when I meet people in person. And the answer is no. So like I'm grateful because I could be pulling teeth for you to pay attention to me for anything for a long time. So the fact that you're coming to me already intrigued by something I have to offer, I'm grateful because I could have acted in that show and you thought I was the worst actor and you could be roasting me, as opposed to begging and wanting me to come back to the show. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's a gift, right? Because I'm like, they appreciate the work I've done. And as an actor or an entertainer, you love for people to like what you did. So I'm like, cool. If the takeaway here is that you're obsessed with the character and you want him, we won. We did something right there. Now, when it comes to them not taking me feeling like they're not processing what I'm putting out and just kind of ignoring it to like get to the Jackson thing, that it can be hurtful, not in like
not seen.
Hurtful is not a thing because I'm not hurt because I still appreciate it because I'm like, you're here at all, appreciate you.
Just not seeing it,
just not seeing where it's like, oh, cool, thank you for loving Jackson, but I'm like, did you listen? You know what I mean? Like, are you processing the music? But honestly, a supporter, at the end of the day, I really have accepted that a supporter is a supporter, and I'm like, whether your comments are about Jackson West or ERLY, at this point in today's society, a view is a view, right? So I'm like, if like, there's no bad press kind of logic where it's like, if you're here, you're here. Now, granted, do I want it to be all about music? One day it will be, but until then, it's Donald Glover to Childish Gambino. Like, it was all Community for Donald Glover, that show he was on. Community, we love your character. And then finally, he had a hit, and now people are like, when you're releasing another Childish Gambino, where's Childish? Yeah. It'll switch. It'll take time, but it'll switch.
Well, and okay, so one of my favorite conversations that I've had in general, but with you recently, was we talked about like kind of daring to be great. I felt like the Holy Spirit really told me to come at you a little bit. And it was just about how I was like, hey, man, I loved you because you were a guy that was singing on a stool and had a beautiful voice, and it had nothing to do with the glitz, the glam, the flair, this. I didn't even realize you were an actor at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
love that.
And so how do we, like, again, for a lot of people are afraid to post on social media, or they feel like they have to have this really curated page, or like, or this to that, or like, when do you just get to like step up? Because again, if I feel like, for me, right, I've held myself so back in my life, and if you saw my archive of photography versus what's posted on my Instagram, it would be.
I can imagine. I know you be busy and booked, and and her Instagram don't be busy.
Yeah, because I'm just like so overwhelmed by it, and I get so like I have dare to be great, you know? Yeah, how do you navigate that kind of aspect of it, of just really going for your dreams, and how do you kind of escape this perception of what people think you should be and shouldn't be?
Well, yeah, I mean, Katie knows, but for those of you who don't know, I suffer from the same thing she does, where it's like I have the ability and the material, but I get in my own way, especially when it comes to just posting stuff. Let's just go back to the conversation you and I had.
Yeah.
Because
it was so good.
So good. And for those of you who might be listening, when she says that like the Holy Spirit had her come at me, we're not talking about aggressively. We're talking about like in some strong, fierce love, like kind of like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Kind of beautiful way. I think it's easy. Yeah, it's just such a loaded thing. I think it's easy to once again, don't know if this is a thing, but I'm gonna make it a thing. Kind of like over prepare, because in my head, I'm like loading up for the perfect drop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then that load up lasts for about 3 or 4 years. sadly. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's just how, like, I think it's like if you're trying to curate, or like I always tell people, I'm like, no one knows your schedule for posting. No one knows your schedule for like when your release of that, like, movie you're making, or
but curate what? It's such a false thing. Like, what am I curating? It's like, release it. And so to go back to what the conversation she was having, she was like essentially saying the reason I felt an artist's love was because it was simplified. You were just doing what you do. There wasn't the perfect blah, blah, blah around it. It was like you were singing. Yeah. The message was being received. And so what that did for me was allow me to, or I guess remind me that it's okay that it's not the perfect package.
Well, I think authenticity sells right now too. Right. So like for me, and it inspires. So for me, like that Grandma's Hands video, like it inspired me so much to the point where I had to photograph you.
See, and that was literally a weekly thing. I was just weekly doing covers.
Was it during the pandemic? Is that why you were doing it, or was it before that?
It was before. It was just out of my own wanting to post myself singing more. Yeah. And because at the time I didn't have the means, because this was like pre The Rookie. Was it? No, yeah, because if it was around around that era, that was pre The Rookie. Yeah. So this is pre The Rookie. This is when like acting is like fluctuating a lot more. Like there wasn't like a steady income. So I was like, okay, my buddy plays guitar, I sing, I have a phone. Great. And then ironically
enough, on the phone?
Yeah.
You recorded that on? No way.
Yes. What's it called? With better sound, like we had mics and stuff, like we were tracking
into like a mixer like this. Yeah,
exactly. What was I gonna say? Ironically enough, her liking Grandma's Hands is huge because to this day, that's my favorite song. My favorite song is Grandma's Hands. Yes, by Bill Withers. And if any interview, you can look at my TikTok. I made videos years ago when it said, list your favorite song, or like there was like this like trend going on. Grandma's Hand, Bill Withers.
I will say, I feel like I always have a really good, like I can pinpoint things. Like I'll be like, or maybe it's just because I love creativity and I love artists so much, but like maybe I could just tell the way you were singing it.
It was like organic or like rooted. And it's like,
yeah, maybe it's seeing through BS or whatever it was. That's so funny that's your favorite song.
That's legitimate. So if anybody to this day were to ask me my favorite songs, it'd be Grandma's Hands, Bill Withers, number 1. Number 2 is CeeLo Green, oh my gosh, I lost my mind. I'm so flowing about that play.
Are we getting a little just free concert right now?
Crazy. I was like, what is that song called? Crazy by Gnarls Barkley, which is CeeLo Green's band. And then, oh my gosh, why am I blanking? It's Marvin Gaye's song. Anyway, I'm put on the spot right now, but those are my top 3 always. So going back to the conversation that she had with me, I'm like, it just reminded me, my takeaway from that conversation, well, dare to be great, but allow myself to release perfection and just be like I get in my own way. The reason I haven't released a song in so long, the reason I haven't posted is because I'm trying to do these perfect packages of stuff. And it's like,
well, you and me both suffer with a little bit of OCD.
Yeah.
And how that can influence like some mental health, right? And then how does it impact, you as an artist, you as trying to like, just because again, we're all going to die one day, right? Just like your title of your thing. But
which sounds morbid, but kind of beautiful.
It is kind of beautiful.
Permits.
It just allows you to be like, okay, so, and then again, that's, I feel with this podcast, I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. And people are never going to know who I am. And then I'm just going to sit here and just like wait or sleep away my dreams.
Literally. That must be like the tagline. Like,
sleep away my dreams.
That gotta be like the title of this episode.
But yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, they'll have this talent and they really just, they have no idea what to do with it. And they just need an iPhone.
Honestly, and then I will say, that's not to be ignored by the reality of today's pressures, which play a factor, right? It's like, okay, well, this is where our minds go that we have to ignore. It's like, okay, we release it and then it doesn't get as many likes or comments. And it's like, oh, has anybody even seen it? Then you feel kind of pointless that you're putting stuff out there because it's not getting traction. It's not in the algorithm. It's not. And then you're like, okay, well, I did all that for what? But then you have the glimmers of hope that are like glimmers of hope that are the Katies that are like, hey, saw your song, ba-ba-da-ba-doo-ba. And now 5 photo shoots later, you're like growing together as artists. And so I have to remember that because that's the biggest takeaway because it happens. And God is constantly in my career. I mean, you can speak for yourself, but I'm sure because I mean, I feel like we've seen your success, right? But for myself, constantly, God has always been like, yep, keep going. Like there'll always be these little things that will happen or big things that I'll ignore. I mean, I'll recognize in the moment, like, man, that Katie conversation, I was like, that was like another nudge of like, you're doing it. You're doing right. Keep going. Like,
I mean, there's been so many times in my life, like I did like a photo shoot for free and I was like just about to like, but one of the reasons I moved out of New York is I lived in this like crazy apartment where there was like an underground poker ring on the other side of my walls.
That's wild.
Wild. The stuff I heard coming out of those walls.
People were like getting shot, fights and yelling and
it was nuts.
All types of.
But their electricity was connected to mine, and I got hit with a bill for like $2,000, and I couldn't argue my way out of it. The like it was crazy, and I was like, okay, this is God telling me like I just have to go. Like I couldn't afford it because there's so many. I mean, New York is expensive. It's
Yes.
I mean, so when you're just like literally living penny to penny at that point, I was like, all right, I think I'm like this is my time to go. Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
And then I was literally living at my parents' place, and then I got connected with like a couple fun events. And then I ended up working for the Kardashians for a little bit. But it's like, that was such a crazy, but if I hadn't moved out of New York and wasn't able to go back and forth to LA from Chicago at the time, like there was one time where I had to, like the first photo shoot I did for Poosh, which was Courtney's brand, I like flew back to Chicago and then they asked me to do another one. And I literally just had to unpack my bags, go back to Chicago and get back on a flight. But like nobody knows that because they didn't know that. They thought I was living in LA.
Katie, screw you. Because let me tell you something. If you listen to this podcast, you probably already know her work. But if y'all don't, that's the level we're talking about. Like, she might have good, bad stories from working with some of Hollywood's elites, whatever. The point is, resume-wise, that's the silence that we're talking about. It's like, you would never know some of the gnarly stuff that she's done. So I'm happy that this is like a celebration of you stepping out and like shining.
I'm trying to.
Yes, this is shining era.
Well, I feel like so, especially because of my sobriety, like I was really like for a long time I was like more of like a rockery kind of photographer. Like I felt like I was literally like living this rock star like lifestyle. And then when I was 25 and I stopped drinking, I became like overly kind and nice, but maybe to a detriment.
Yeah.
That I was afraid to kind of like, I just lived in this humble space, or maybe it was my relationship with God, maybe it was that. But like, I feel like so many times in my life that if I'd just been a little bit bolder, maybe I would have been even further. Or if I had, I don't even know if
what does that look like? You already was, and regardless, just with Kardashian on your resume alone, that's literally Hollywood elite.
But did I get to like, I felt like I wasn't seen as an artist in that space. Like they just wanted me to photograph like their taco recipe or like her with like a diffuser. You know what I mean?
Tricky. Okay.
It's tricky, but if I had the opportunity to do some of the artistic stuff that you allowed me to do with it, what could have been my career, right?
Sure.
But then there's also the point of like, I don't even know if you know this, but the reason I moved out of LA was because a friend, he was a producer for like a big video production company. And he told me, he goes, if you don't start using people, you're never going to be successful. And I said, I think that's my time to leave LA.
I hate that statement.
It was crazy. I said, okay, that's not how I live my life. I'm a person of God. I need to move out of here if that's the only way you think I'm going to be successful. He's like, you got to start asking for favors. You got to start meeting people. You got to start, you know what I mean? Saying, hey, I need this, and then drop them. You know what I mean? It was like this whole attitude of being like, if you don't start using people, you are never going to succeed. And I said, that's my time to go.
Yeah, that's a gross statement. But I've been told that statement myself on the acting side. They were like, why? You need to be networking more. Now, networking sounds innocent, but really the statement was that. The underlying tone was like using people.
Schmooze
like going
to get a favor.
Yep. Going out there like rubbing elbows, whether that's from flirting to drinking to drugs, whatever that means, go meet with those people, have that good time and get your connection. And I'm like.
And also the drinking, all that stuff, the drugs, everything like that too. Like the second I stopped partying was also, I felt like I got set back because I wasn't going to, like, I was invited to these parties, but I'd probably leave at like 11.
And I'm like, but I'm here for it because the thing that I've said to other actors, now networking, yes, that has worked wonderfully for many people.
Of
Great.
Course.
But I've also looked dead in the face of some of these people that I've legit said this verbatim, where I'm like, my resume is just fine. And I'm looking at somebody, and that sounds cocky, but just to counter that moment where I'm looking at somebody who's saying like, why don't you go out more? Why don't you go to this? I have this event tonight. Like, we should be going there. Well, how do you think your acting career? How do you think Will Smith got to? I don't know. But what I do know.
He said, I don't know.
I don't. And I don't care because I'm like, what's for me is for me. And right now, my resume has been building just fine. And the only reason I was saying that, because I'm looking at the gentleman who's telling me that, so I'm not going to say his name, but his resume was not proving that networking was working at its peak. Because I was like, I haven't done any of that, and God's been laying stuff out just fine. So I'm like, I know there's a way to where I'm trying to go without the craziness. It might take me longer to get there, but I was like, it's doable. And that's a big takeaway too. It's like, don't feel like you have to compromise your moral compass, especially on the acting side, because I've done that too many times.
I lived my dream and I'm so glad I did. But when it became time to like, or like when I looked at people like what's happened to childhood actors or, you know, Jeanette McCurdy. Yeah. Like when I see stories like that or hear stories like that, it makes me really glad that maybe I stepped away.
Yeah. And honestly, on the acting side, when you ask earlier, are you still doing acting? It's like, that's the thicker, deeper, which everything you just said is the thicker, deeper response underneath it. The answer is yes, but the answer is yes with a lot of boundaries.
Well, because you choose when you fly to LA.
Correct. So I'm like, for me, piggybacking off of Katie's entire career breakdown just now with photography side, I feel that same way on the acting side, where because I've compromised and this is my own fault out of just a lack of spiritual, emotional, whatever maturity at the time, where I was like, okay, all right, well, I need that credit, so I'll just go ahead and do that role, because it's like, it'll be good to have this network on my resume. Okay. Yeah. And it'll lead to the next credit. Like, okay, actors just have to do stuff just because like we have to build our names. And it's like, man, I wish and I'm not big on like, oh, I wish it would change, because obviously you learn, you become who you are, whatever. But if I could, I would definitely be putting my foot down a lot more in the past.
Having more of the moral compass lead your direction.
Yep. Yeah. And people ask why I prefer music over acting. I've always sang first. Music, acting just snowballed first. But it always started in music for me. But when people ask, would you rather do music or acting? My answer is easily music, because I have a say, right? A say in the sense, because I know people that are in the music industry be like, oh, you don't really got no say. Like when it comes to labels and stuff, like it gets tricky. But I mean a say in the sense of what I'm projecting. Like, you can't force me, like, as the artist, I can sit here and say whatever I want to say, and it has to come from me.
Yeah.
Your label can't force me to present a package to support something that I don't, because I'm for your network. It's like, I am the network. At the end of the day, it's like, you might control which songs I release, right? Or like the energy of the songs. Like, make something more up-tempo. Cool. But you're not controlling my message. Like, I will no longer allow anybody to be like, yeah, you should, make a song talking about this. Because with acting, my only option is to say what you've written.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, as an actor, like, I guess I just gotta suck it up, get this credit and get this paycheck, because I don't know where my next check's coming from.
Yeah.
So let me just go stand for something character-wise or project-wise that I don't even really care about or support. So I don't like that. So with music, I have more of a say.
Well, and that would, like, for when I moved to Arizona, that was a big choice for me, because I felt like I was still like, if people actually knew who I'd been offered to photograph versus who I've actually photographed, but I felt like a lot of things were dangled in front of me, like opportunities, where that made me stay in LA maybe a little bit longer than I should have. Like I said, was I at one point doing this for me because it was my dreams, or was I proving it to, high school me and all the kids in high school that I could do it?
Yeah.
And I had to have that conversation with myself, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's just, we're in a world where a lot of people would dream to be in Hollywood, but then actually being in it is a different story. So yeah, I just wanted to ask you about that, because especially like being a man of faith, I think it's really interesting. So like for me, I'm like, hey, when I go to LA, it's a choice.
Yep.
And I choose who I work with.
Yep.
I choose who I say yes to. Yep. And I choose who I will be away from my daughter now.
That's
who's worth it.
Yeah. If I'm okay to double back on one of the things that I kind of breezed over, back to, I guess, the navigating the industry. So as a man of faith in the industries, specifically with acting, I've always warred with the fine line of trusting that maybe God has me in a role or a space for a reason, even if I don't fully zhuzh with it. Or am I just being selfish and not trusting that something better would come afterwards? For example, let's say if there's a role, let's say if I'm not comfortable showing nudity, great, on camera, and I get this role and there's nudity and it's an epic film. I've struggled, and to this day I struggle with this, as a Christian in the industry of like, oh, okay. am I called to this space because it's a great opportunity and I'm just fearful that it's going to equal this and blah, 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 blah. Or is there something potentially great that's going to come from it by being in, they always say, I forgot the quote, greatness is on the other side of fear, or something you have to break through. Like, is this one of those moments where I just need to break through and just like, or is it like, no, stick to your guns. You know what you don't want. Trust that something else is after that. So I war with that. It sounds easy when I just said it. It's like, yeah, just stick to your guns. But in the moment, kind of like the dangled fruit where it's like, Katie, can you please come for photograph, blah, blah, blah. And it's this huge artist or whoever.
Literally got asked to shoot Nas as I was on a family vacation. I had to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm on a family vacation. You can't photograph Nas. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. So
Issa Rae, same thing. Like,
see, that's exactly. So it's like when that role or that opportunity is like there, and it's like, now what if, I mean, I'm not putting you, don't feel obligated to answer this, but whatever, just a hypothetical. But what if, let's say they wanted you to shoot Nas, partaking in something that didn't represent your photography or who you are, whatever. It's like, that's the type of.
I actually did struggle with that because I shot 5 covers of Playgirl.
Okay.
So it was boys like rather than girls. And I'm married and the whole thing, right? But there was one person, he was actually naked, but he was like partly covered and like that was early. And I was like, all right, this is like fine for me, right? Yeah. But I really have struggled. Or like even, is it nudity or is it naked? Like that whole like whole journey too. Is it artistic or is it sexual?
Or is it sexual? Yeah. So it's that fine. That's exactly it. Like other artists get it.
Yep.
Right. You understand that thought, but like the average viewer is very black or white. Where it's like if it's Christians, they're like, why would you do that? But if it's like a Christian who's an artist, they're like, oh no, I get it. That's like art. So there's this line that I struggle with sometimes.
No, I did it too. Like there was one week my mom, I actually just talked about this on another podcast, but my mom, I was coming home early a week before Thanksgiving and it was going to be the last like Thanksgiving. So we were pushing it a week early because I had other work to do. So I came home the week before, but I had to move back my flight because I had the opportunity to like direct a video with Chance the Rapper talking to his music director about God.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. This like aligns with me. This is awesome. I actually got to tell him like one of his lines, it says, I love to say your name. It comes from my diaphragm. Everything I have, it comes from your hand. And that was the day I like, because I don't even this, but I like love to sing. And
whoa.
Yes.
What? I knew you love artists. Would you love to sing?
I love singing and low key, like kind of like feel like it's pretty, it's not like
it's good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm passionful. Like I love it. But the first time I actually sang in front of people in a long time was on my way to church after listening to that line and for worship.
Wow.
Super cool. But I got to tell Chance that. But then, okay, so telling the story, then I fly home to Chicago. I have my like high school reunions that weekend and 10-year high school reunion. And then I get this call. So it's Saturday. They say, hey, Sunday, do you want to shoot Kanye West at the Hollywood Bowl for the Jesus is King thing? But I'm like, so in theory, it fit my kind of moral compass, right? But I would have to, my mom had slaved over this meal. It was the last Thanksgiving in my childhood house. I was going to go to my 10-year reunion, see people I hadn't seen in a long time. And I said no. And didn't know that shoot was going to end up being the cover of the magazine. Had I known that, maybe I would have. But now Kanye's cuckoo.
And then you're attached to what? Like the credit doesn't even help right now, technically. I mean, it still does. Not going to hold you. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? But
you know what I mean? Like that's a pretty crazy thing. But then again, also, at high school reunion is where I reconnected with. I know.
Don't be anxious about anything. All right, cool.
But that's where I connected with my husband again. So would my baby girl be here? Maybe not.
That's deep.
That's crazy, right? So.
And honestly, my mom, pre-Alzheimer's, used to always say this. She would always be like, you never know what God's protecting you from or providing for you by following the thing. We've said that in our family from as simple as, well, you actually said this too, because I remember saying you saying this to me when your flights kept getting canceled. But the same thing, if we miss a flight or if we're like running late, that's gonna be God's protection. You never know.
No, my daughter's first flight, we were delayed like 20 hours, but we left after 12, and I like just had that attitude. I was like, God is protecting us.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hellish day.
Yep.
But like, thank you so much for protecting her.
That's been like the slogan of my family for ever is like, hey, you never know what door God's closing, what he's opening. So for example, there's been multiple times where I've missed like opportunities on the acting side that I've said no to. Yeah. But once again, if it weren't for X, Y, and Z, maybe the rookie wouldn't happen. Maybe the da-da-da wouldn't happen. Like there's always something, You know what I mean? It's like your daughter wouldn't be like, that's a big one. You're like, dang, you missed Kanye West shoot? Like, dang. Like, and the average listener's like, you could have ate with them later. But then when you say reconnecting with your husband and
I always wanted to be a mom. I really did. But I thought I was going to be a mom by myself. I thought I was going to adopt a bunch of babies and I was going to live my dream and I was going to, just be this photographer that was low key kind of sad, but I was like, how am I going to be a mom if I'm married to my career?
Man.
But now we figured it out.
Yep. And I was like, and you still, I'm like, the fact that you still have your resume, you still have your ability to have the eye that you have, the talent that you have. I'm like, it all coexists. Like, I'm like, working moms are in. What a vibe. They really are. I'm like, that's such
working moms are cool.
They're cool now. Like back in the day, people wouldn't give you time of day, which is sad. But it's like, now it's like, heck yeah, mom.
Wait, so let's talk about just quickly though, crab legs and Kool-Aid. So what made you want to start that podcast? Because it's great.
Well, thank you. I mean, I just wanted a safe space to be my full ratchet self because genuinely the only thought that I had, I wish it were something deeper on some spiritual level. Maybe subconsciously it was, but because the conversations that we've had there have been very spiritual. And when I say spiritual, I mean like Christian-based conversations that are inspiring to people like me if I were listening. Anyway, but the reason that I did it, full stop, was I was sick of doing interviews and kind of like presenting myself like I guess the package, kind of like we talked about, like the ABC package. Curated. Yeah, where I was like, okay, be well-spoken. You know what I'm saying?
Don't talk about God. Don't talk about this.
Right. And it's not that nobody ever told me not to, but I just wanted to be widely accepted. And it was like, and I just felt like the bumpers were on my actual personality. And it's like, y'all, I'm a lot more like ratchet fun and myself than I present in a lot of interviews because I just wanted to always say the perfect thing. And I was like, I want a space where I can say what I want to say, talk how I want to talk, dress how I want to dress. So I created it in my podcast. And I was like,
where does the name come from?
It, once again, kind of like the butterfly lead thing. I named it that to remind myself, this is called Crab Legs and Kool-Aid. So it's just two things that I really love. Like I love crab legs and I love Kool-Aid.
So that's cool. Okay, so I love the name.
The name comes from just pure ratchetry and fun where I was like, all right, I want to remind myself to be myself.
Okay, so is there any last thing you'd love to say if someone's listening to this and they want to be an actor or a singer that you could say?
I would say, honestly, the through line of this whole episode has clearly been don't sleep your dreams away. So don't get in the way thinking you're not good enough, thinking that, actually this came to mind right now because it's something I struggle with. It's comparison. Thief of joy. We know that. Do not let that get in the way. And what I mean by that, if on the singing side, is if your voice doesn't sound like Sam Smith's or whoever you look up to sonically, there's a lane. The reason, the best advice I've been given is the reason that Titus, like this is what he said to me. His name's Neil Pogue. He was on my podcast. He said, Titus, the reason that we love you as an artist, or the fans that will come will love you, and the reason that you love some of the artists that you love is because they're uniquely them, right? So some of your favorite artists, the reason you love them is because they're not a doppelganger of another sonic person, right? Another person sonically. So it's like Tyler the Creator sounds specifically like him. Chance sounds specifically like him. You can't really compare them to anybody because they've embraced their own sound. So that's my huge takeaway as an artist.
That's so true. Like, Chance, like him singing is not like a stereotypical singing.
Right.
It's very like
Donald Glover, even like Childish Gambino. It's like he raps, but then also he sings sometimes. And it's like, and when he's singing, he just sounds like him doing it. And that's what I had to permit myself to abide by, is being sonically me. It's like, it's not going to sound like Giveon. It's not going to sound like whoever else is epically killing the vocals out there. What makes early is that it sounds the way I sound when I sing. So that's one thing that I would say to singers is don't compare yourself. And if it's not sounding like Mariah Carey, that's cool. There's a lane. Here comes Billie Eilish or whoever else that's like whisper singing. And it's like nobody 10 years ago would ever think that some soft-spoken soprano would be a radio hit. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyway, so there's that. And on the acting side, honestly, join an acting class. That's always my first thing. If you've never done it before and you aspire to do it, look in your town. There's acting classes in every city of every state. No, they're not, maybe not the critically acclaimed ones, but they will be ones to kind of like get your toe in the water to see if you enjoy acting, to see if you enjoy being in front of people, learning lines and having to remember them and perform in front of people. Join an acting class. You can watch them on Zoom. There's a lot of things you can do on the acting side to like kind of prepare yourself.
And would you ever mentor?
Yeah, 100%. When you said mentor, I was thinking of coaching for some reason, like acting coaching. And I was like, I don't know. But mentor, yeah. I mean, if that lined up and somebody was like, oh, could you mentor me?
I think you'd be a really good.
I mean, I don't feel like that.
I don't think
I'm
maybe
still
not
figuring
acting
it out.
coach, right? But somebody that could just, lead by example.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a messy journey, but maybe that would be inspiring for you not to be messy.
I love it.
So maybe there's some teaching there.
I know when I talk about kids mentoring, I'm like, just here's my mistakes.
Right,
Try to avoid them.
Just don't do those because they get in your way.
So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And where can people follow you?
At Titus Makin on Instagram and at I'm So Early with 2 O's, SOO on TikTok and Snapchat, I guess, which I don't really use. But
and then crab legs and Kool-Aid?
Crab legs and Kool-Aid, baby.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to Beyond My Lens. I'm Katie Levine, and this podcast was created out of passion for sharing these stories. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and join me next time as we go beyond the lens.